Hello friends, welcome to another video. In this video, we are going to look into a time intelligence pattern. Time intelligence very commonly we use in Power BI to compare month to date, quarter to date, year to date data. In this particular example, I want to show how we will improve our model to simplify our DAX calculations. Actually, let me show you what I want to achieve here and what I want to show in this video, and then we will go step by step to build this pattern. Let's get to Power BI. To explain what we want to achieve is, we wanted to do is like we want to single select a date from our slicer, and based on that selection, we want to select the period for which we want to see the data. In this particular example, if you see, I've selected November 2021, and if I select 1 year, it means I want to see data by month or by any granularity from October 2020, from December 2020 to November 2021. That makes it 1 year. So basically rolling 12 months. And if I select YTD, and if you look at this particular visual here, if I selected YTD, what I want to see is my single selection date is November, and I want to go to the start of the year because that's a year to date. If I select QTD, based on the date I selected, which is November 2021, is the reporting period I'm selecting, and then I want to see that particular quarter, in this case October and November. And if I have, this can be MTD or selected report date, then only show that particular month what I have selected. And I can also extend this to 2 years. For example, if I go to 2 years, so depending on the November 2021 selected here, I want to go back to December 2019. So that is December 2019 to November 2021 is the 2 years. So I have a prefix of these periods which I have on the slicer. And then I can pick and choose which reporting date I want to see the data, and then move back based on the period selection, whether I want to see YTD 1 year, like rolling 1 year, rolling 2 years, or quarter date, or the particular selected month. And one good thing about this particular pattern is that we can use it on any of the measure, because the complexity we are taking in developing this particular time intelligence table or pattern in our table, instead of doing this in the DAX and doing the calculations there. And now advantage is I'm using here the sales measure, which is simply a sum of sales. And I can use any other measure, which could be any like a sum of quantity, number of orders count, and all that stuff. How this is working under the hood, I just want to show you guys a table which I've created. Then I will walk through that particular table, how I created it. So there is a table I called it calendar time intelligence table. Again, in that particular table, we have a few columns here. If you look at this, I'm going to talk about the DAX, how we created this afterwards. But what I have here is, I have a reporting date. That's first, actually, I have a date column. We will talk what that is. And then the reporting date sort and reporting date, this is what we are using in our slicer. The report date is what we're using in the slicer, and this particular report date column is sorted by the report date sort. And then we have a period, and again the periods is one like a QTD, YTD, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year. Maybe depending on what kind of pattern you're looking for, what period you want or grouping you want, you might have a different period. But in this particular example, I have created these 6 or 7 periods. And other is a period sort. Again, that is to show the period by the order we want to see it. I want to see my selected report date or month to date as the first, and then the QTD, then YTD, and then 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, so forth, so on. And once I have created that calendar time intelligence table, again I will walk through how I created that table and what the value of the columns in that particular table is. The other part is the relationship. What we have is this new table which I created, calendar time intelligence. uh, it has a relationship with my calendar table, because this on the date column, calendar time intelligence has a many dates. The same date is repeating again and again. That's why, and the calendar table, we know the date column is unique. And what we have, it's a one to many relationship, but the cross filter is set to both. And the reason behind that is because what I want is anytime I um, filter this particular calendar time intelligence table, I also want to filter my calendar table. And because the calendar table has a relationship with my fact table, and based on what the period is getting selected here, it is giving the range of the dates, and those range of dates is then get filtering our calendar table, and that calendar table is then filtering the sales table. And that's why we can use any measure which we have on the sales table, or if we have another fact table, and if calendar table has a relationship with that particular table, the same measure from that new fact table will also work. So basically any measure we use which is connected with the calendar table will work with this particular pattern. Now the complexity, now we have taken all the complexity of this calculation in the creating this calendar time intelligence table, instead of having this into the measures. We can of course achieve this by measures. We can have a disconnected table, which we have seen many times for selecting the report date, and then we can, based on, then we can have another a table with the period selection, and based on these two selection we can have write the value calculations in the measures, what date range to be selected. But with this particular pattern, what we have done is we have done the hard work creating that table, and then rest is pretty easy and straightforward. So let's look at what is in that calendar time intelligence table, is how it has been created, and go through all the details around that. So let's take a look. Okay, before we look into how the time intelligence table is created, let's simply understand this in Excel in a very small example here. So assuming I have this a small table created here for the demo purpose. So this date range, August date range of 2011, which is like a 1st August to 31st August, we want to understand when this date range will be used to filter our calendar table, in what different options it will be available. Now this is the reporting date. So for example, if I selected a reporting date of 31st March 2011, it means this August date is not relevant at all, like August 2011 date range. Whether I'm using month to date, quarter date, year to date, 1 year or 2 year as my period, this date is not relevant if I select the report date 31st of March. Fast forward when this date range will be used. So if, for example, if I selected the reporting date of 31st August 2011, in case of month to date, this date range will come in the picture. When I say this date range, I mean I'm just giving an example of August 2011. So if my reporting date is 31st of August 2011, my calendar date range will be 1st August to 31st of August. So that's when this date range will be used. Now, if my reporting date is, again in the context of the reporting date, if my reporting date is 31st August 2011, and if I choose quarter to date, then my date range will be July, because that's when the quarter third start, July 1st to August 31st. And also if I select the reporting date of 30th of September, so then my quarter is July, August, September. In that case also my date of this date range will be included to filter my calendar table. But if I have selected July 31st, 2011 as the reporting date, and my QTD is being selected, and then the August will be excluded, because what I'm saying is I'm just looking at the first month of the quarter. So basically, in case of quarter to date, the August dates will be included if my reporting period is either 31st August 2011 or 30th of September 2011. If we move forward to the year to date, if I have selected my year to 31st uh, July as my report date, then August date will not be included, because what we want is we want the date range to be January 1st to July 31st. That's my reporting date is, because everything is anchored at the reporting date. So that's my reporting date is. But if I selected my report date 31st of August, so then my date range will be January to August of 2011, and then this date will be included, this date range will be included. Similarly, if my reporting date is September, then August will be included, because my range in that case will be January to September. So for so on, if I'm 11 December, my date range will be January 2011 to December 2011. In that scenario, my August will be included in that range. But for example, if I go to 31st of March 2012, if I'm here and I select year to date, my August 2011 date range is not included anymore, because in this particular case, my date ranges start from January 2012 to March 2012. Now, coming to the rolling 1 year, rolling 2 year pattern here, again, if I selected if I selected my reporting date 31st of July 2011, my rolling period is going to be August 1st of 2010. That is the first date, because we're going rolling 12 months to 31st of July of 2011. But if I select August 2011 as my report date, now my range is September 10 to August 11, and this range will be included. So that green area is when my August date range will be included, in case I have selected rolling 1 year as my period. And similarly, for 2 years scenario, it will be included up to the 31st of July of 2013, because two periods going back from 31st July 2013 will be 31st of starting from 1st of August of 2011. That's what will make it 2 years of the date range. Here I put it in a without green background to showcase. So if I have selected 31st of August 2012 as my reporting date, in that particular scenario, my 12 months is gonna be from 1st of September to 31st of August, and in this case my August date range will be not part of the selection. If I have my reporting date 31st of August 2012 with my 1 year as my period. So basically what we need to do is, in our time intelligence calendar table, which we're going to build, is or I already built, but I will walk through how I built it. So based on the report date and based on the period we have selected, we have to find what date range is included in that particular scenario. If we're quarter to date, then whether August is included in that or not. So basically each date we have to look from that perspective. So it's a reporting date, and the reporting date we select and the date we have in a calendar table, we need to find out the range, and that's exactly what this pattern will do. And once we build that, everything is super simple after that. So let's get to Power BI and take a look at that, what is included to build that pattern. In this video, I will just show you guys 1 year and 2 year example to build a range, 1 year and 2 year and month to date. In the second video, because I don't want this video to be too long, In the second video, we will do the quarter to date and the year to date pattern. But let's get to look into 1 year and 2 year pattern first. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to create I already copied a script of my time intelligence table, which I already created, and going to walk through block by block to explain what we're doing in that. So let's call it a time intelligence table. Okay, and then I'm gonna return base calendar here, and let me walk through what we're doing here. So forget about the month to date calendar for now, but let's look at this first one. So I saved a couple of values in a variable: current reporting month, end of month today -1 to go back to, I'm doing this video in July, so it means June, last date of June, and max date is current reporting month. I will explain where I'm using that, but let's leave those for now and look at the base next variable. So what I did is I created a base calendar variable, which what I did is I took the all date column from my calendar table. So basically, whatever the number of dates are in there, it will return that particular table. And then I added two columns to that: month and date, which will be for each date give me the last date of that month, and the quarter number. It's again to calculate the further tables what we just looked in Excel. It's going to be come handy to use that. So if I return the base calendar right now, we will get three columns in there: date, month and date, and quarter number. Let's create this table. Okay, here we have this table, a date column in the date format, date time, and month and date. For each date we have the last month of the date, and then we have a quarter number again based on the quarter, in which quarter that date falls in. So that's the base table we created from our script. Now we're going to start creating our expand this to add more rows and more columns into this. So first we're going to look into the month to date calendar, because that's pretty straightforward. Month to date is always whatever the reporting period we selected, that is pretty much that particular month range. If we have selected August, give me all the date of August. Or if I selected July 2011, give me all date of July 2011. So that's pretty straightforward. Here what they did is created another table, another variable called month to date calendar. So I took my base calendar table, which is we already have in a variable, and I added a few columns to it. Value column, I gave the static value to it to 0. We will look into that where that is going to come handy. And then we have an actual month number, that is the month of the date, so it will give me the month number of the each date column. Report date sort, that is month and date, which is already as part of our base calendar. And period is whatever the name we want to show in the slicer. Again, I call it selected report date, you want to call it MTD, it's more or less the same thing. And then the period sort, how we want the period column to be sorted so that in the slicer it shows up correctly. So if we return now month to date calendar, and if we look into our base calendar, month to date, if we return that, our base table has around 5,000 rows. So month to date calendar will not include more rows. It's pretty much we added more columns to the base calendar table, but we haven't done any additional rows or anything like that. So if I run this now, okay, here you go. What we have is we have a value column. These are the three base table columns, first three, and then we have a value column. We gave a static value of 0. Actual month number, that's a month of each date column. That's what we have. Report date sort, again that's a month and date column. Period, the label we want to show in the slicer, that's a selected report date, and the period sort, I gave the sorting value. So month to date is pretty straightforward. Let's do 1 year, rolling 1 year. Again, when I say 1 year, it is a rolling 1 year. When I say 2 years, rolling 2 years. So depending on what the reporting date we have selected, that is go back 12 months from that, or go back 24 months from that. I'm gonna copy the code for the 1 year calendar table here. from my script, and let me bring it here. And then that's where a little bit logic involved in here, but it's pretty straightforward at the end of the day. So here is I added the 1 year calendar table. What I have is a generate all and the generate series, two functions getting used here. Now I did a video on all the generate related function. Do check out that video. I will post the link of that video in this video. Do take a look at that, what the all different generate function does. In this particular case, we are using two generate functions. One is generate series and the other one is generate all. Let me little bit format it correctly, and they should go here. So let's understand what we're doing here. So generate all need two parameters, two table parameters. So let's say if we have a table A and table B, and we say generate all A comma B, what it's going to do is it's going to return the Cartesian product for those two tables. So basically full join between those tables, and include it will give us a list of all the possible combinations between those two tables. So that's what we're doing. So in generate all, what we're doing is we are first giving our first base calendar. This is our first table, and which we are passing it as in a parameter. Now the second table we are generating on the fly to pass it to our base calendar. So to our generate all. So what I'm doing is to calculate the second table, what I'm doing is I'm saying, okay, what is my month number? That is just the month of the date column that is coming from our calendar date table, this base calendar. And then I'm saying month number for series. Again, how many months we're looking here. So I'm saying I'm looking for 12 months because this is 1 year rolling. So that's what I'm doing. So that's a 12 months. And then I'm returning a table. First, what I'm doing is I'm generate series. Is what the generate series does is you give a starting point and the end point and the incremental. It creates a table for us. And in this particular case, what it is going to do is it is going to create a table with the 12 rows with the value as a column, and it will be 1 to 12 as the values in that particular column. The reason why it's going to give us the 12 rows, because we are saying month number for series, I'm passing that as in a second parameter, and that's what it's 1 to 12. And now once we have this particular generate series table, I'm adding a column to that, which is actual month number. So basically this actual month number I'm also including in my second table. So now what I have is I have a base calendar with all the dates in there, which is basically coming from here. And then I have a second table with the 12 rows and two columns. First column is values, and that has a value 1 2 3 4 5 6 up to 12, and another is a repeated value called for a month number that is coming from the month date. So that's basically, and then what this is going to do is it's going to create for each date in our base calendar. So let's say January 1st 2012 or 2010, and now the second table with the 12 rows. So it's going to convert each date row, each date value or the row in our base calendar multiply by 12. So if I have a 10 dates in my base calendar and multiply with that 12, so I will get 120 rows at that point of time. So that's how it's going to expand the table, and I will show you all the values of these columns here. And then the 1 year calendar, and then once I have this internal table created, what I'm doing is I'm adding more columns to it. The first column I'm adding is the report date sort. What that is doing is it's saying month and date, whatever the month and date is, which is our this one coming from the base calendar, comma 12 minus value. So what I'm doing here is report date sort is saying, I'm saying end of month and date, which is coming from my base calendar, and then I'm saying 12 minus value. So 12 is my upper range because the 12 months, and then minus value, as I said, the value is going to become a column in our table because of the generate series, and I'm going 12 minus value. So, and then I'm getting end of month of that. We will just see these columns in actually in our table, and then that will explain it better. And then the period, because that's what I want to see this to be shown as a 1 year in my slicer, and I'm giving the period sort as in a value 40. Okay, here that table is created now. Again, the same columns, these first three columns are coming from our base table. Value column is created by the generate series, and actual month number is also created by that generate series, that internal table we created. And then report sort date is we added a calculated column, and period sort. Let's filter one date to understand what we did to calculate the report date sort, because this is where the whole logic is happening. So let's pick one date here, maybe the first date of 2010. Just select one date so that we can understand what's happening. As I said, for each date there will be 12 rows, right? So these are the first three. So now we have a 12 rows because again, going back to generate series, when we said generate all base table and then generate series 1 to 12. So when they multiply together, or Cartesian product, so basically for each date we get the 12 rows. So now let's sort it by this value column so that we understand it better. So what I said in my, let's go back to the logic here just for quick. So I said month and date. I want that my report date should be end of month, and that's a function, and the month and date pass as the first parameter. Then I said 12 minus value. So what does that mean actually? So what is month and date? So month and date is 31st of each, in this particular case is always going to be end of month for January 31st. And then I said 12 minus value. So what does that means is 12 minus 1, it becomes 11. So I want it to be go back 11 months. So that's why what you see here is you're seeing the 31st December 2010 as my report date sort. And in this particular second row, it's at 12 minus 2, go back 10 months. So that is 11. That's why the month report date sort is this, and so forth and so on. So now this is what the 1 year has created. But how does this work? Like what does this even mean? So let's look this as visualize this as an example, and then that will explain it better. What I'm going to do here is from our T1 table, I'm going to get my report date sort as in a slicer. Okay, I'm going to add two card visuals here and to see what date range we are getting. So that we understand what date range we are getting when we are selecting different report date. So now we have set 31st of August. So I'm getting first, it means my calendar table should be filtered for this particular date range because it's a year to date, 1 year rolling years we are looking at. So this case now what we have is September to August, which is perfectly fine. If I go to 31st December, this should come from January to December. Now this is working great. Again, going back to our Excel sheet, just to give you an example here, the purpose of why I showed you guys an Excel sheet, if I select September August 12, then this August range is not part of that date range. So let's go to 31st of 12. So what does that mean is now we have it 9/11 2011 to August 2012. So now this is working perfectly fine. So that's what this pattern is working as expected, because I'm selecting a report date and then it giving me the range to filter my calendar table. What it is telling me, okay, if you starting this as a reporting date, that's your anchor point, and you selected rolling 1 year going backward, so your range is this. Now how does this work with the 2 year? It's pretty straightforward. Let's go back and go to T1 table here, and as I said, the 1 year and 2 year pattern is pretty straightforward. So I'm going to copy the code here and change the variable to 2 year calendar, It's pretty, rest of the logic is same. The only thing is our series is now 24 months because we want to go back 24 months. And then also this logic here to calculate report date sort is going to be 24 months, and my period is now 2 year, and I want to give it a different sorting order for now so that I can sort it. Now let's combine 1 year and 2 year calendar together to get the final output. 2 year calendar. So now we union. Now to union in DAX, we need the same number of columns. So that's what we have here. So union, in our union, and we will have a table with the 1 and 2 year already combined together and see how it will work. What we need to do is we need to have the period selection here as well, because we need to select what you want to see, 1 year or 2 year. So I'm gonna make it a slicer here. If I've selected my report at 31st December, August, my date range is, if it is 1 year, it will be from 2011 to 2012. As you can see, this is changing. And if it is 2 year, I want my range to be 2012 to 2012. So now this is already giving me the range. Once I have this range, it becomes really straightforward from here. As I said, what we're doing here is I'm going back to my original table which I created based on the same logic. And if we look at the relationship, we have a calendar time intelligence table here, which we just created T1 table, and it is have a relationship with the calendar table with cross filter set to both direction. And now to visualize the data, if I go back to the page 1 with our data in there. So here you go. What we have it is, if I select a July 2019, I have a QTD selected because July is the first month in quarter, and I'm only seeing the first month. And if I go year to only seeing the 1 month, if I go YTD, now I'm seeing July selected, but I'm seeing all that start from the year July, January to July. And if I go 1 year, what I will be see is August to, I think I don't have that data going further back, so that's why I'm not seeing it. Now, with this pattern, what I'm doing is I'm selecting my start, my anchor date, whatever the report date is, and then based on the period, whether I want to see that quarter which I've selected report date, or I want to go to the year to date from the start of the year, or I want to go rolling 12 months, 24 months. I can add more logic in that time intelligence pattern table, and I don't need to do anything with my measures. Measures are simple. Some measures now I can use it for any of the measures I have in my model, and all the complexity is taken care by that time intelligence pattern table. Again, in the second video, what I will do is we will look into the QTD and YTD, because there is a little bit complexity in that particular logic to create this table. But end of the day, what we're doing is we're just gonna create a date range for each particular reporting period, and depending on what period you select, it will work. Let me know what you guys think about this. Make sure to subscribe my channel, because there will be more videos I will be doing on Power BI and also doing on Fabric. Do check out Fabric playlist. Until next video, have a great day. Thanks for watching. I hope you find it useful. Please do share your comments and feedback. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Bye for now.